Hello, everyone, and welcome to Short Rest, for episode 14, Trials of VinTear. Well, we finally made it. Horseless, but we made it.
Those horses. That sucks.
The insurance paid off.
I feel like that's just a D&D trope. Doors, bush. Well, in your campaigns, bushes, horses dying.
Bushes?
Yeah. For Nomad, we were scared of bushes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's fantastic, as you should be. That's where these
We
bandits
were
were.
until Mike made us.
It was an interesting thought to have when I was like, well, because I know we were going to have a cozy crew today. I was like, how the hell do we get Morse and Diva out realistically? And so I thought of this map, and there was a bunch of like traps. That was, by the way, these guys weren't super strong. You know, they had like HPs, like 16 HP for the standard bandit, and we had I think the main captain had like 20 something odd, or no, it was like near 40 something odd damage HP.
Yeah, I was like, she took a couple of hits.
She took some solid hits, and she earned her title as a captain for a reason. But I was like, well, bandits are always so laughed at when it comes to like the D&D world. It's like, oh, bandits, we can throw fireballs. You know, screw you guys. You're nothing. So I really wanted to make this fun little thing where there was traps involved. And I had a second image. Like I made two versions of a map. One where there were a bunch of squares where I knew where the traps were. And I wrote out a bunch of reaction abilities for these bandits to do so they can react the traps and do other things. And so I was like, wonder what happens. And so traps are fun, man.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm glad it was the horses and not us, though, for those spike traps. That seemed nasty.
Yes. 2d6 points of damage would have on landing in that. And then you have to climb yourself back up.
Off.
Yeah.
I should have done this and I totally forgot. The captain was I forgot that she should have tried this. She was going to try to shove you, Arrow, into the trap again.
See, okay. This is part of why I was so mad that she kept running. Because the plan I had for that turn was get myself up there, drop Fog Cloud, and use Lightning Lure to pull her into the trap. And then she ran away! And then the other plan was, okay, even if that doesn't work, I can jump that gap and then shove her into the same trap. Didn't work out. I had grand ambitions.
We had a bunch of pieces, and I was like, I wonder how this is gonna fall.
Yeah, it was cool.
I need a sticker of woman, please.
Wanted so bad.
Stop running.
Stop running. How dare you?
No, there was two sand geyser traps. There's two pitfalls. Actually, there was three pitfalls, but you guys never went north. There was a third one at the ready. That's what they were doing for a whole full turn, is readying that. And then there was the rope trap that I had planned for the canoe. And that's where I was like, all right, no one here at the table is going to suffer from that, because the players who are not here are going to suffer for it. So they got wrapped up and pulled away.
Anytime you say water, my mind still goes to the maw with freaking human arms and a fish, and I'm like, not again. Like, I know it's likely it's not that thing, but my brain's like, not again.
I have a love of dragging people around where they don't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right now, water is convenient.
It's so fun because in waters, in campaign 0, I introduced this concept of these giant octopi wrapping their tentacles around someone, and they're like, oh, they're gonna squeeze me, and I'm like, nope, they're gonna go back into the water. And since they have a swim speed of 50 feet or 80 feet or however fast it was, they drag you down 40 feet underwater. How long can you hold your breath?
You need to give them more context than that. Because we pissed off a coven of hags, and so anytime we were near water, Mike was just rolling.
Not anytime. It was a roll.
So it was like, do we get drowned? Do we not? But I could breathe underwater in that campaign, so I was good.
I saw some really brutal moves from coming from Legati.
Yeah.
He was annoyed at being waylaid when it was all going so well, and these people wanted so much money. It was completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
I had horses.
So yeah. Yeah, he was bummed. He's never had, like, he never done long distance travel that way before. I think it's always been out of the amount of money that he had, or like he's going over mountains or through the forest and it just hasn't been an option.
Yeah.
If Legati has the choice, he's not gonna pick like the rougher, harder way to travel. It's like, all right, cool, this is easy. What we want to do is get to the city and deal with that. That's our goal here. And so it was annoying to him that the carriage and the horses did not last very long.
Weren't we supposed to bring them to the outpost here?
Yeah, you have to bring it to an outpost. So
Can we pay our fine?
I mean, you bought the insurance, so it just has to be a report.
Oh, okay.
You know.
They did. I'm
And
sorry.
so it's
They fell in
You got a
hole.
bandit problem on the
Yeah,
road.
you
You
had a
should have told us about that.
There's road work.
yeah.
Quite a lot.
And then after the fight, we had a little moment where there was nothing really heavy when it came to the view or the perception for checking for checks. But I knew it was going to be a Legati thing. And so I had this whole speech and sort of... I've been thinking about the Salal low-key for maybe a month and a half now, like constant.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's been something I'm like...
Gets in your head, man.
I was like, man, how do I explain this concept?
Yeah.
And hopefully I did well enough to get a rough idea of what Teller thinks it is or how he could describe it.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things about it is that, like, what Legati believes he knows is only theories. You know, like, and the inspiration of it in the short story is not necessarily what it is in this world, because this is a Dungeons and Dragons world, so this is different. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that what Teller said definitely, like, that fits into what Legati thinks he knows about it and its nature. And the fact that he was able to guide Legati into becoming a gnome certainly backs up that, like, he seems to know something about what's up. You know,
There was a term that was utilized back way back when I was like scrolling through TikTok, and it was dimensional intelligence, and I went,
yeah,
the hell is that? And I ended up looking it up, and I was like, how can this be the Salal? Like, I think I even talked to you, Amber, like maybe a few weeks ago. I was like, Amber, I'm on like an hour in on this TED Talk video essay about different dimensions, like flat world, or how fourth dimension is also time, and then you go into multiverse, and then you go into like universal experience or something. Like there's like, it keeps on going further and further and further. And I was like, if choice is a thing that everything experiences at an eventual point in any dimension, then it has to be a thing that is high above a lot of things. And I have to almost put like the gods on a separate dimension, because they treat faith and belief in such a weird, unique way that it has to be seen in a different way.
Because they weave it. It's not really like, I mean, in theory, there's choice, right? But you weave it to what you want.
Yeah. And so I was like, all these things, but the way I tied it to D&D was that the ethereal plane has been constantly described in at least the videos I've watched as like a border plane. And I was like, yeah, you could slip into the border plane of one dimension and go into the next. It makes sense. And so that's how he was able to explore a bunch of worlds and solve the Salal, and was like, it's a vast entity, a dimensional intelligent creature that encompasses everything, and it just bleeds on everything. It's constantly bleeding on all of existence. But has mentioned, like, he's seen the river of blood trickle to you, Legati, almost fiercely, and is like, that's weird. Maybe because of that, we can make you into something.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Do we get to know what that 89 that he couldn't have was? Or is that for later use?
Oh, 89, that's human.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was
He was
like,
already-
that's a D100
Yeah.
is such a big number, so.
That doesn't work because you're already that thing.
Yeah,
It was
that
a
would not
display
have been
change.
particularly impactful, but yeah.
It was a display
different
change,
kind of
and I was
human.
like, no way would he land on human. God damn it. All right.
Of all the things, yeah.
I have to find a longer list. There is actually a longer list somewhere on the internet where it has a lot
I think that
more.
the reincarnation list has been updated as they've added a bunch more races.
Are we sharing it since we just said it, or?
I mean, it's there is a thing that can happen that could trigger this again.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the things. So
Yeah.
we'll see if that ever comes up. But you know,
Now we
Legati
have
doesn't
5G.
intend to need it.
Love that. That's
Yeah,
I was like, why do I feel like
Um,
the trigger's death?
you know, or getting close to it, but it probably won't be necessary.
It's a fun little ability. There's a lot of
Yeah,
There's a lot of little moments that have to line up for it to activate.
yeah.
it's very
I won't
specific.
be counting on it.
Yeah, I didn't want to make a thing that felt overpowered. Like there's a lot of
Yeah,
situations
yeah,
where
yeah.
it has to call for it, but it's one of those things where if it happens enough, eventually it's going to, kick in.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a gnome now. I switched it in D&D Beyond, and it does change your ability
Stats.
scores, but it's okay because the human ability scores I had picked were basically the same. Basically, my intelligence went up by 1, but my modifier didn't change, and my strength went down by 1, but my modifier didn't change.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually like right spot on with everything. And I got all the different abilities. It is really funny, like, and I'm doing Googling about like how the spell is supposed to work, because stuff that like rock gnomes can do is like tinker. You can tinker and make little clockwork devices, and you get into that like, why would somebody who's reincarnated as a gnome be able to do that? Isn't that like a cultural thing? But like rules as written, you just get all the abilities,
So-
even the ones that seems like it should have been your upbringing or whatever.
The reason why this is so cool is because we're talking about like choices and splitting into different like,
Yeah.
dimensions and
Chaos
worlds.
theory and yeah.
This is what happened to you is what would have happened if Legati was born, like you came from a gnomish background.
Yeah.
And now we are shifting beings, and this is gnome Legati.
That's
Wonderful.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's a scary question because now are we dealing with Legati, or are we dealing with a different version of Legati? You know, it's
He seems like his same
yeah.
chaotic self.
I don't think any of the
Yeah,
versions of Legati would
that's
care.
the secret. That's the Salal secret, is that there's no such thing. There's no essential nature to things. That's one of the things Legati said last episode. Any like perception of like the real Legati, there is no such thing. There's no real any of us,
Yeah.
right? So it fits in perfectly with what Legati believes actually at the fundamental level. And that's what he was saying to the lighthouse keeper too, where like he didn't press on and therefore, like I made the note of like, hey, Moors, everything you just took a vow of is like pointless and life is chaos and meaning or whatever. Like he didn't press on that because he knows that's kind of like disheartening and hard to accept for some people, but that is like the ultimate, that is implied by what he does believe about the nature of reality, right?
Yeah. We're experiencing Legati shifting that belief willy-nilly, like, hey, I'm stuck in this like third dimension material plane that is just a series of choices that can be changed in different worlds. Let me just show you how it works, and is now a gnome.
Yeah.
I want to switch a little bit to Phoenix breaking someone's neck with I flavored it as how it sounded like you just snapped the guy like with a punch. I thought it was like one of those you get on his shoulders like Black Widow and just like a snap in the neck, and then you
I was
bounce
aiming
forward
for
him
a
off.
pressure point. I was aiming for a pressure point because there is a pressure point, but
Also your knuckles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Also your knuckles.
but I always get creative with how I kill people. It doesn't matter the character. Nick knows this.
Uh-huh.
There's so
As you
many
should.
Yeah, there's so many weird connections. We were making jokes, but I was like, you are from an island that's dangerous. You're red, you're fast, you punch. What the hell?
I mean, she's not temperamental.
Amber, did you make knuckles and I didn't know about this?
I mean, she kind of defense. She is temperamental, but she has learned to like restrain it. But that's her nature, right? She gets mad.
Isn't that like the Sonic movies, like the live action Sonic movies? Is that he's not like, I guess he is hot-headed. I don't know. He's hot-headed. Wait a minute.
The Knuckles I know is hot-headed and also restrains himself when he can. So it's
Phoenix.
for me. Yeah, so Phoenix.
Yeah, it's Phoenix.
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't just like, I don't think she wasn't the type of person just to go off of people. She was just angry in general because her life sucked. So it was like there's a snap here and a snap there. So like to refine those skills is basically what her trainer did, and was like, no, like focus it, use it for something useful. Don't just go pop it off.
And then just a full-on duel with Arrow, just fucking hit, and then finally. I'm really excited that you used dual, the two-handed weapon fighting, because I was like, you haven't done that yet.
I have never had a character with that like capability really, or like really with those weaponry. So like I was looking at what I was able to do, and I was like, I would really love to do more for a bonus action. I think I can do that one because my short sword's a light weapon, and I have 2 hand axes. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. Probably be doing more of that.
Yeah. And then the final thing that we saw was that the last travel day occurred. No really big incidents, but you guys did. You would have experienced the fight in the middle. Like you would have been in the city as the fight occurred with that plant monster and Cooley. But you guys arrived late, so you just sort of caught the last half. There might have been a possibility for you to even to aid Cooley and have an audience with her, but the horses died. Travel wasn't going to make it, and I was like, all right, how do we pull this back?
Hey, we're not gonna tell her that part when we talk to her. Phoenix is gonna admit that part out.
Yeah.
Horses died. Don't worry about it. We had insurance.
We don't want to talk about it. But you found, or at least you witnessed, the fighting abilities of one of the forward guard, who is a small little bright fairy.
I was like, dude,
okay, I was going to ask, like, is she a fairy or like a gnome ASMR with fairy aspects?
No.
Like, what's happening here?
That would have been really flavorful. No, she's a fairy. She's like 1 foot.
Okay.
She's so tiny.
Lovely.
Yeah, fairies are really tiny.
I appreciate you making them able to fight this campaign. Last campaign, we just said they were bitches because you put a guy in the ground and took his wine.
Oh, sorry. I was like, who are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about fairies. No, you're doing with pixies.
We were like, oh, this one's nice.
But no, yeah, Cooley is this bright pink, fairy who fights with butterflies and darts and a club.
Is the club way bigger than her?
No, I'll show you an image. It is like a nailed baseball bat.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks pretty rad.
I was just picturing a fairy like swinging a normal sized club. I was like, go you. You got good strength.
It's small,
Get
but
it, girl.
she cut this guy or this monster on the chin. So there's some power behind that little strike and the little weapon.
I wanted.
I will say.
Oh, go ahead.
Go on.
Oh, I was gonna say I wanted to jump in there, but then you said that thing talked, so I was like, yeah. So
I was
like,
about to say that.
do we have a disagreement? Like, are they fighting? And like, I don't want to interject, like, not knowing what the context is, or like, is that thing actually terrorizing the city? 'Cause, like, I was like, I want to go, but are they just having a disagreement? Like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, my thought didn't go that far, but I had the same moment of like, oh, it speaks. Oh no!
This creature, that's rib cage opens and its jaw has been split sideways. Yeah, it speaks.
Well, because I was like, oh, well, maybe it's intelligent. Maybe, like, I don't know, they got in a fight because of a disagreement or something. If it didn't talk, I would have had no problem setting it on fire. But now I kind of have a problem because it can't talk.
What were your thoughts, Nick?
I think Legati was still kind of distracted by being a gnome.
Yeah,
so I think he was like just kind of like staring at what was happening in front of him, but he's like, still adjusting to the new body and the new way of walking, and everyone being so much taller than him. That's never happened to Legati before. So he's like, well, they're not attacking us, so we're probably fine. If we need to do something, we'll do something. But
weren't you?
Otherwise, his mind is full of new
How
possibilities.
tall was Legati as a human?
Yeah, I thought you were like 6 feet.
6'2", right?
6'3", something like
Yeah,
that.
you're
Yeah.
a tall dude, and now
You
you're
were
like
6'2",
your
yeah.
view is down here. And
Yeah, now I'm like
how
3.5
tall
feet tall.
Yeah, like gnomes
Is
are like
he
3
a
feet.
tall gnome?
Yeah.
Is he a tall? Yeah, he's on the
I guess
taller
he
side.
should be tall for a gnome, right? That would make sense.
3'6".
See, gnomes here, between 3 to 3.5. Yeah, you're like 3.6.
Yeah,
you're a
3.5
tall
feet
gnome.
tall.
What
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah, it's gonna take some getting used to, for sure.
Oh, so he's a little taller than Caleb because Caleb's 3 feet. That's weird.
3 foot and some change.
Yeah.
But next time we come back, which from recording is in 2 weeks.
3 weeks.
Oh, 3 weeks.
Big.
That's right.
Yeah. October 5th? 5th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Look at
man.
Titan 5th.
Oh, that's right, because we're doing. By the time this is recording, we'll be doing Toy Box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that gives me a lot of time to plan for Outslog and what you guys would like to
He's
do
just
there.
gonna keep telling
Out of
me.
curiosity, just to help me as the DM, what is your plan as you get into the city?
I forgot what the
have the
goal
note.
was.
We gotta go get
Volrat.
that. We need to
Volrat.
interrogate that guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
We need to
Yuka.
make sure that Volrath hasn't escaped,
Mm-hmm.
and then Volred. Yeah. And
You
then
can call him Volrat.
Prosecutor Yuka.
Mm-hmm.
How did this person end up working for Volred? Harper gave us an address in the Emerald Strip to
Yeah.
go to and start asking some questions. So we're gonna go and start asking some questions.
I mean,
Probably find a place to sleep, though, I'm assuming.
you threw Ford Guard in
suppose.
front of me, so now I'm gonna want to go talk to her.
She's flying off.
And I'm quick. 100 feet.
I also
in a
want to spend some of
dash.
this money. Got too much money. Need to spend some money on stuff.
I'm with you with Legati. Let's start blowing this money. We don't need it.
Also, I need to get rid of some of my heavy archaeologist gear because I'm not encumbered yet, but I'm getting close to it. So I probably don't need this miner's pick and the shovel and everything
Arrow.
else that I'm carrying around with me.
Give it to Arrow. Who
All right,
Felix
cares?
does
we'll-
not
we'll
know
trade
what to
next
do with her money.
Well-
She doesn't wear armor or anything. She's good.
We'll start doing a equipment check and buying and selling and maybe find an
Yeah.
inn somewhere to sleep. And then
'Cause this is a bigger city than where we were, right?
this is a large
yeah.
city. Yeah, it has. I'll pull it up right now. And I'll eventually share this guys with you as well. I could do that probably now. It has 5 and 6 districts. It's a fairly large space. Some of them smaller than others, but it is.
You said districts, and it reminds me of Hunger Games. Which kind of is on
So,
par of all their poor
You guys went through the
outside.
rug, and you're currently standing at the entrance there. There's the stone steps, which is probably where you lived, Legati. I would imagine, because it's like middle to lower class. It's not like super rich people. Central Square Central Square is a lot of like trading and things like that. So you're looking for a shop or a place to stay. Perfect there. Emerald Strip is a lot of ritzy, middle to higher up. And then in the middle, it's like, I think it's called the Crown something. I'll pull it up. Crown Point. That's actually where the Dracewind Castle is. In the Outsox space of the family. And then the Faith District, where a lot of the churches are. I'm telling you all this because you know this. So, if you gotta find something, Legati's your man, especially in Outslog.
Yeah. So were you born here? Or you
I think
just-
that's what we established, right? This is my home city,
This-
so I
this-
assume my parents still live here, although Legati is not a family person, so.
Yeah, your family's still
Doesn't really
here.
matter. Yeah.
This is where you were born.
You exist.
Yeah.
They probably won't
I
recognize you.
don't really want to have the gnome conversation with my parents right
Yeah.
now, so we have other stuff to do.
What the hell?
My dad, Legati, what happened?
I'll just see him again. Well, eventually, I'll be able to turn into whatever I want. I'll go see him then. But yeah,
I didn't think about that.
Well,
yeah.
thank you everyone for joining us for session 14 of the short rest, and we'll check you guys next time. Bye.
Right.